Imagine yourself walking through the quiet streets of Panama City at dawn. The sky above is still brushed with the fading indigo of night, but already the first golden hints of sunlight are kissing the curved towers and glinting off the mirrored windows. The air is thick, not just with humidity, but with the sense of promise, the quiet pulse of a country that has always been a meeting point, a crossroads, a gentle collision of worlds. You pause beneath the arch of a ceiba tree, listening to the soft chorus of birds awakening in the city's many parks. The throaty call of a great kiskadee, the fluting notes of a clay-colored thrush. There is a subtle saltiness in the breeze, the memory of the Pacific and the Atlantic, both never far, both always calling. Here, in the stillness, you become part of Panama's unfolding story. Each step is an invitation to see, to feel, to understand, not just the place, but the flow of life itself. Your journey begins in Casco Viejo, the old quarter of Panama City, where centuries-old stone churches stand beside colorful colonial facades, and the cobblestone streets are shaded by grand, time-worn balconies. In the early hours, the cafes are just waking, the scent of rich, dark coffee wafting out to mingle with the ocean air. You notice an elderly man sitting on a stoop, gently strumming a guitar, his music a soft greeting to the day. You wander past murals splashed across ancient walls, telling stories of revolution and hope. The rhythm of history is everywhere, in the faded flagstones, in the laughter of schoolchildren weaving their way to class, in the quiet pride of the people. You hear snippets of conversation in Spanish, sometimes woven with English, and in the distance, the rolling notes of Caribbean patois. Panama is a land where languages merge and blend, a bridge not just of oceans, but of hearts and voices. Further on, the city's modern skyline rises like a forest of glass and steel, symbols of ambition and of change. Yet even here, you find the warmth of Panamanian culture in the small things: a mother walking her child to school, a vendor arranging ripe mangoes and creamy avocados on a wooden cart, a group of friends sharing empanadas and laughter on a shaded bench. Breakfast in Panama is its own gentle ritual. Perhaps you try a steaming cup of café con leche, thick and sweet, and a fresh hojaldre, a golden, flaky fry bread, sometimes dusted with sugar, sometimes served alongside soft white cheese and scrambled eggs. You taste the comfort, the history, the mingling of Spanish, African, and indigenous traditions in every bite. As the city awakens, you find yourself pulled toward the water. The Cinta Costera, a long, curving promenade along the bay, offers a peaceful space for walkers, cyclists, and dreamers. Joggers glide past in the rising heat. Families stroll in the shade of palm trees, and the skyline gleams over the calm expanse of ocean. Ships on the horizon are reminders of the country's lifeblood, the Panama Canal, silently slipping from one ocean to another, carrying stories, hopes, and goods between worlds. You decide to follow the current, moving toward the canal itself, the marvel that defines Panama's place in the world. Standing at the Miraflores locks, you watch as enormous ships are raised and lowered, their passage almost meditative, a choreography of water and steel. There is a hush here, the reverence of witnessing something bigger than yourself. The engineering, yes, but also the human determination, the centuries of dreams and struggle that made it real. Panamanians call their country Puente del Mundo, Corazón del Universo, bridge of the world, heart of the universe. It's more than a motto. It's a truth you can feel, walking here where continents nearly touch, where north and south, old and new, mingle in every breath. From the city, you wander out into the wild green that still covers so much of Panama's land. Just beyond the modern edges, rainforests breathe in the humid air, alive with the songs of howler monkeys and the bright flicker of toucans in the trees. The Soberania National Park, a short journey from the city, envelops you in ancient shade. The trail beneath your feet is soft with fallen leaves, and the world narrows to the delicate web of life all around. Orchids blooming on high branches, agoutis rustling in the undergrowth, the secretive shadow of a jaguar passing unseen. Here, you feel Panama's deep connection to nature, a respect that is both practical and spiritual. For many, the rainforest is not just a resource, but a sacred place, a teacher. You recall the words of an Embera elder you meet along the Chagres River as you paddle a narrow dugout canoe through mirrored water. The river is our road. The forest is our home. We listen to the trees. They tell us where to find what we need. In small villages along the banks, Embera and Wunaan families still live much as they have for generations. Their thatched roof houses raised on stilts above the water, their crafts woven from palm and colored with seeds and bark. The air is filled with the scent of wood smoke and the laughter of children swimming in the shallows. Here, you taste Juanes de Pescado, a fragrant fish wrapped in banana leaves, steamed with rice and spices. You are welcomed with smiles, offered a cup of chicha, a sweet, lightly fermented drink that cools you in the afternoon heat. As you drift further from the city, the pace of life slows. The days stretch and blend with the soft rhythm of rain and sunlight. You notice the way Panamanians greet each day, not with hurry, but with an openness to what the hours may bring. Even in the bustling markets, where vendors call out beneath striped canopies, there is a patience, a sense that time is not to be conquered, but lived alongside. You find yourself in a small mountain town in the province of Chiriquí. The air here is cooler, scented with coffee blossoms and mist that drifts down from the slopes of Volcán Baru, the country's highest peak. In Boquete, the landscape glows with the vibrant green of coffee plantations. Workers move between the rows, their hands stained with the red juice of ripe coffee cherries, harvesting beans that will become some of the finest cups in the world. You sip your café at a wooden table overlooking the valley. The flavors are deep and rich, layered with hints of chocolate and citrus. Nearby, a group of students laugh softly, mixing Spanish with English, discussing their projects on sustainable agriculture. Education here is a pathway not just to jobs, but to a new kind of stewardship of the land. Panama invests in its future through its young people, embracing technology and digital learning, even as it honors tradition. Beyond the plantations, you follow winding paths through cloud forests, alive with the sound of falling water. Streams tumble over mossy stones, and in the hush, you spot the iridescent flash of a resplendent quetzal, its emerald feathers a living jewel among the trees. Local guides tell you of the seasons, the dry months, when breezes. The journey carries you west toward the Caribbean coast, where the rhythms change once more. Here in the province of Colón, the Atlantic laps against white sand beaches, and the air is alive with calypso and reggae. In Portobello, the crumbling Spanish forts stand watch over blue water, silent witnesses to centuries of trade and piracy. You stroll through narrow streets lined with wooden houses painted in sun-bright colors, blue, yellow, red, their porches draped with laundry and the scent of frying plantains. You taste the Caribbean influence in every meal: rice and beans cooked with coconut milk, fried fish golden and crisp, sweet cakes of cassava and coconut, Food is more than sustenance here. It is a gathering, a celebration of heritage. In the evening, you join locals for a festival of Congo dance, a swirl of color and drumming, where stories of freedom and resistance are passed down through movement and song. You feel the pulse of ancestry in the ground itself. As dusk settles, the music softens, and you sit by the water, watching fishing boats rock in the gentle tide. The stars come out, bright, countless, undimmed by city lights. You are reminded of the migrations that shaped Panama, the peoples who arrived here from Africa, from Europe, from Asia, from the Americas themselves, weaving a tapestry of cultures that is still vibrant and evolving. The night brings quiet reflection. You think of Panama's place in the world, a small country, but one that holds together continents, ideas, destinies. Its history is marked by both hardship and hope. The dreams of the indigenous, the scars of colonization, the toil of canal workers, the triumphs of independence. Each chapter leaves its mark, shaping the character of a nation that is proud, resilient, and always moving forward. Morning finds you in the interior, in the wide, rolling plains of the Azuro Peninsula. Here, the land is dotted with sugarcane fields, with stands of wild guanacaste trees, whose canopies cast islands of shade over the red earth. Villages rise from the grassland, their plazas centering life around small churches, schools, and open-air markets. Life here feels timeless, a rhythm of planting and harvest, festival and rest. You join a local family for breakfast, sharing caramanoyas, crisp cassava rolls filled with seasoned meat, and glasses of jugo de maracuya, cool and tart with passion fruit. The conversation drifts to the coming celebrations, the Corpus Christi dances, where the streets come alive with devils in painted masks and swirling capes, reenacting the eternal dance of good and evil. Here, tradition is not a relic, but a living current, flowing from one generation to the next. Children chase each other through the fields, their laughter carrying on the wind. Old men sit beneath trees, playing dominoes and telling stories of the past, of drought and plenty, of love and loss. You hear tales of la pollera, the national dress, with its intricate embroidery and delicate lace, worn proudly by women during the Festival de la Majorana. Each stitch is a memory, a prayer, a piece of identity. The sun climbs high, and you wander through stands of dry forest, where iguanas bask on warm stones and hawks circle in the shimmering air. You feel the changing seasons, the long golden days of verano, when everything dries and crackles, and the sudden green explosions of the wet season, when rivers swell and the world is reborn. In the heart of Panama, you find its pulse, not just in the grand moments, but in the everyday kindness. A neighbor sharing fruit, a stranger offering directions, the quiet smile of a grandmother watching over her grandchildren. The sense of community runs deep here, bridging generations and binding people to the land and to each other. Later, your journey carries you to the San Blas Islands, more than 350 emerald jewels scattered along the Caribbean shore. You travel by small boat, the turquoise water shimmering beneath, the sun painting shifting patterns on the sandbanks. As you approach, the sails of traditional cayucos rise like white wings against the sky, and you hear the faint music of wind in palm fronds. On shore, you are welcomed by the Guna people, whose vibrant molas, hand-sewn panels of layered fabric, intricate with story and symbolism, are hung from the walls of thatched huts. Children play along the water's edge, their laughter mingling with the soft rush of the tide. The Guna, guide you through their world. Fishing with hand lines, weaving baskets from palm fiber, collecting sea grapes along the shore. Meals here are simple, luminous with freshness. Grilled snapper, coconut rice, green plantains sliced and fried to golden crispness. You taste the sea in every bite, the sweetness of the coconut, the tang of limes freshly plucked. Stories flow with the meal, of journeys by canoe under moonlight, of the spirits that dwell in stones and trees, of the laws that guide Guna society and keep their islands safe from change too swift or careless. You notice how the Guna govern themselves with a unique blend of tradition and modern awareness. Decisions are made by consensus. The oldest voices are heard and respected. Modern education blends with ancient knowledge. And though some youth leave for the city, many return, drawn home by the call of heritage. There is pride here, but also a gentle humility, an understanding that survival on these islands depends not on domination, but on listening to the rhythms of nature. As the afternoon sun sinks low, you stand in the shallow sea, watching the sky blaze with color. The clouds flame orange and violet, and for a moment, time seems suspended. You think of the challenges facing Panama, the rising tides that threaten low-lying islands, the pressure of development on fragile forests, the need for balance between tradition and the future. Back on the mainland, you wander through the capital once more, but now you see it with new eyes. The glass towers shimmer above the ruins of old city walls. Digital screens flash in the markets where farmers still sell yucca and oranges from the backs of their trucks. Panama is a country in constant motion, shaped by the world and shaping it in return. You pause in a city park, where students sit beneath sprawling banyan trees, their laptops glowing in the evening light. You listen to their conversation, dreams of startups, hopes for a more just society, ideas about protecting the rainforest and expanding digital access for all. Panama invests heavily in education and digital infrastructure, striving to become a bridge not only between oceans, but between worlds, the analog and the digital, the ancestral and the modern. The evening draws you into the world of Panamanian music. You follow the distant sounds of a tamborito, the national dance, where hand drums beat out a heartbeat rhythm and voices rise in call and response. Elsewhere, the city vibrates with jazz, salsa, reggae, and the pulsing energy of música típica. You lose yourself in the sound, the invitation to move, to feel, to join in the dance that is life in Panama. Night deepens, and you wander under the velvet sky past street stalls selling raspados, shaved ice doused in fruit syrups and condensed milk, a cool treat in the warm darkness. Couples stroll hand in hand, families gather on stoops, and laughter bubbles out from small, lively restaurants. You find yourself near the edge of the city, at the threshold of the Metropolitan Natural Park, a pocket of jungle at the heart of urban sprawl. Even here, the wild persists. Night creatures stir. Armadillos shuffle through leaves, sloths curl into sleep among the branches. Frogs call out, their voices echoing through the darkness. In Panama, nature and city exist not as opposites, but as partners. Conservation is both a practice and a philosophy, echoed in national parks, in the environmental education taught in schools, in the traditional wisdom of indigenous groups, and in the careful stewardship of the canal. The future depends on harmony, a lesson repeated like a soft refrain in every part of the land. Before you sleep, you remember the many faces you have met. A teacher in Santiago showing children how to code, an old fisherman in Bocas del Toro teaching his grandson to mend a net, a mother in Veraguas handing you a slice of pineapple as sweet as sunlight. Each has left an imprint, a gentle touch, a reminder that Panama's greatest treasure is not just its crossroads, but its people. Dawn comes again, and with it a sense of renewal. Mist drapes the low hills. The first light shimmers on the Panama Canal, where ships from every nation glide in silence, a testament to human ingenuity and the quiet persistence of dreams. You watch as pelicans skim the water, as port workers begin another day, as the sun glows over rainforest canopy and high-rise alike. You take a moment to reflect on the incredible range of lives and landscapes you have witnessed. From the bustling markets of Panama City to the shaded cloud forests of Boquete, from the laughter of children along the Chagres River to the Guna traditions on sunlit islands, from the pounding drums of a Caribbean festival to the stillness of dawn over the canal's great locks. Everywhere a sense of contrast, of meeting and merging, ancient and new, stillness and movement, challenge and hope. In the world of sport, too, Panama's spirit shines. You recall the roar of a football match in a stadium alive with red and blue flags, the pride that comes from seeing Panama on the world stage, the unity that springs from cheering together. Beyond the famous victories, there are also morning joggers on the Cinta Costera, young people practicing baseball in empty lots, surfers chasing waves along the Pacific, cyclists spinning along rural roads beneath. You remember tasting sancocho, the national soup, rich with chicken, yuca, corn, and culantro, slow-cooked until flavors melt together. You recall sipping chicheme, sweet and cold, in a roadside stand, the satisfying crunch of patacones, the tropical sweetness of mangoes, papayas, and pineapples, eaten in the shade. Each meal a memory, a pause, a communion. In your journey, you have heard many voices, the words of teachers, of elder, of students, of children, the wisdom of the Embera and Wunan, the pride of Afro-Panamanian heritage in Colón, the fierce independence of the Guna, the ambition and resilience of those building a future in the city's digital heart. You notice how Panama, so often spoken of as a bridge, is also a circle, the passing on of stories, the returning home, the constant renewal of tradition, even as the world spins ever faster. As you prepare to leave, you feel the hush that comes at the end of a long walk. You are changed. Slower, perhaps, but more awake. More attuned to the subtle beauty that hides in plain sight. You recall the way the rain falls in Panama, sometimes sudden and hard, sometimes misting, always followed by the bright clearing of the sky. You remember the kindness of strangers, the music drifting from open windows, the peace of sunrise over the jungle, the laughter that lights up the evening air. Standing at the water's edge, you watch the ships slip past, carrying the world from one ocean to another. You breathe in the humid, life-rich air. Panama stays with you, in the quiet strength of its people, in the shimmer of its forests, in the way its rivers and roads wind forward, ever bridging, ever inviting, ever alive. The journey does not end. It only changes shape, becoming memory, becoming dream. If you enjoyed this quiet journey, consider subscribing to the channel for more calm explorations of the world. Leave a comment if you have thoughts, suggestions, or a country you'd love us to visit next. And if this brought you a moment of stillness, a like would mean the world. Thank you for walking slowly with me. Until next time.